Ready now? All right, call the meeting order. Village clerk, please call roll.
Burgess. Here. Jones. Here. Myers. Here. Tate. Here. Washington. Here.
All right, move to item number 2, discussion on affordable housing presentation. We have the Spark Video X Corporation. And there's a lot of them here, so we've got a couple of chairs. If we have to, we'll bring some more chairs up. But whoever wants to take the hot seat, and if you just do us. So, and then maybe if you could just do us a favor for the record, let's state your name, and then maybe you want to state the name of everyone who's with you.
My name is Osborne Brown.
Well, hang on for a second. Before we get started, I have to make this announcement because if I don't, you'll be yelled at. Where you're sitting at, it sounds like you're talking really loud. The problem is the people in the back cannot hear you. So make sure you keep that mic very close to you, or because if they can't hear you, they'll definitely let you know.
Just think, 1, 2, 3.
You can talk louder. You can talk louder than that, trust me.
Okay. My name is Osborne Brown. I'm CEO of a community development organization called Spark P.L.A.N. We build affordable housing in a number of ways, and our job is to engineer and put that housing in communities where they need it, and to make sure that the affordable housing benefits the community and makes it work. So that requires lots of different people to do that, and so I've sort of brought some of those people here with me tonight to answer questions about who we are and what we do. I'll start with Malcolm, with C21. C21 is a partner of ours in Aurora and in Joliet, the communities where we are now going in the ground with housing. Court is our mortgage. She works with FHA to get mortgages for, she's president of her own company, and she works to get mortgages for people who want affordable housing. By the way, our housing is somewhere between a custom brand new house between $130,000 and $150,000. And we'll that because we want to provide people who can't afford an affordable home. We know you can't get that anywhere. Also, we have our president, Janetta Baker. Is our construction. She runs our construction team and keeps those guys in line. And we have Khalid Sharif, who is our real estate expert in case we're doing veteran housing. He has done a lot in that area for 20 years in Chicago. And we have Larry Thompson, who is our federal guideline. He worked for the Federal Department of Energy for 20 years, and so he guides us in terms of federal rules and regulations in terms of when we're applying for federal dollars. Also, we have Michael Simpson, who's a veteran on our team. He works with the VA and tries to get veteran housing. And also, Michael is our project manager for working with cities when we have to talk to construction or land and the like. And the last gentleman is Jeff Tanner. Jeff is from Decatur, Illinois. Indiana, I'm sorry. And Jeff represents All American Homes. All American builds our homes in a closed environment. We bring them out to the site. We hang them in one day. In about 30 days, the home is finished. All American is the largest builder of homes like this in the country. They build about 2,000 homes a year. I thought if you had questions about that, Jeff would be the guy. My role is to manage these folks and to bring them into communities. We find that Aurora may be something very different than, say, Gary, Indiana, or Northwest Indiana, or Joliet. And so we had to get a number of people, say like if you wanted someone with young families, or you wanted disabled seniors. Those are specialties that that people are needing right now from Chicago. And so we bring in those kinds of folks to help us with getting that housing. It's not simply just building a house, but it's really engineering that to the needs of that community. And that's how we start.
Everyone's received the packet. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Trustee Myers?
So you haven't selected any lots yet?
We have not. We talked to JW and talked about what we could do. We do select lots. We have a team that goes in and looks at lots. and to determine what would be the best life. Normally work with cities, and the cities tell us what they have. But we haven't selected anything. We thought it would be best to sort of talk about who we are and what we do and how we work. And we try to provide local jobs also. So when we do construction, we need local people and try to get local tradespeople. And in fact, we are going to be working with the Potter's House, I think, to train. We're applying for those funds to train people in the local community to do some of the work. So we thought that he thought best that we come to the committee before we start asking.
You also, your hearing and everything was age through 25 to 35 to 40, something like that.
No, we think that basis what's happening in the marketplace today, there are 3, maybe possibly 4 distinct categories of what we're seeing. One are young families, and that is predominantly families wanting to leave Chicago right now. Chicago is having a lot of problems, and there are a lot of families like Northwest Indiana with their realtor out there, but when they leave, they're paying rent. So their rental price can't go much further than what they're paying right now. And so that's where we come in with All Americans Provide a Home. It's somewhere starting at $130 and going to $150. So, and then also there is a second need of people retiring, say like the teachers union. They're retired, when they get retired, a lot of them can't afford to still stay in that area. Because when they were in school, they had to live near that school. And so now you see a lot of them looking for somewhere to live in the area at a reduced price than they are in Chicago. So that would be the second one. And we also think the third one is veterans, because veterans have the funding, but many of them need what they call ADA compliant housing. And we build that along with All Americans for Veterans. And we have April Shakur here who works with the VA to get those people vouchers and the like to get it. And there's a huge need for that all over the place, in every market we're in. So those are the 3 areas we think are most agile.
From start to finish, it's 60 days or?
About that. It starts with us looking at the land and coming to your department to get the architectural plans approved. And then we'll look at what excavation, and it starts with an excavation, and then I'd say from that it's about 60 days. At the most maybe 45. But we can build it in that area. And the reason we can is because these homes are built inside and brought to the site. And it allows us to hire people in the local community, helpers. We like to try to find some of the youth and train them on how to work with a carpenter, how to work with an electrician. Those are things we think are important when we move into a community.
But they're not modular homes, they're prefab and factory.
No, they're modular. Well, prefab is what I would call a trailer. Modular is something that's built just like it would be done outside, 2x6. And what they do is build components. And when one component, you may have 4 components, and we'll come out that day and put them together, and then you have about 30 days to put in electrical and HVAC and plumbing and all that.
Would your homes follow the federal guidelines, or would they follow the local codes and stuff that the municipality will follow? A lot of the prefab homes are established, they follow the county and the federal guidelines and standards.
I would say yes.
Come on up here, Jeff.
Yeah.
We won't wait.
Jeff, you made it to the hot seat.
Jeff is the expert and sort of guides us in regulations. And
Just talk loud in there.
I'm used to that.
Yeah.
Any homes that are built inside a factory fall under 2 categories. One is the HUD code. HUD code is basically a steel frame. It's a double wide. It's a trailer. It's registered with the Secretary of State. We have never built those in 45 years. We build IRC and Boca Code homes, so residential code, all wood construction, no steel frame, no chassis. Once they are put on the house, it is actual real estate. It is non-trailer and qualifies for all standard mortgages.
They're bolted onto a foundation.
It's a regular foundation, sill plate, and
Big difference.
big difference. You got it.
If you didn't know it, our trustee used to be a code enforcement officer, so I'm sure he has a whole load of questions.
We sort of got that.
You read up on them before you came, right? I'll tell you what, trustee, let me pass around, see if anyone else has. I know you've got any more questions. Trustee Jones.
First off, I was trying to look you all up. I checked the www.aa2016.org.
Right.
Nothing came up for that. I don't know if anyone else experienced that.
It shows all of our houses, and that's an alliance. We also are involved with smart houses, and that's what we display that for help. Is now what you're seeing with Obamacare and all these other issues is that most people cannot afford those items. So we put in what you'll see on aa2016.org are all of that out. We do have a smart PLS.com website also. The AA16 is specifically highlighting the kind of housing that we would build in any given community, and it also talks about smart homes. Yeah.
So how did you find out about Sauk Village? Or what brought Sauk Village to your attention?
I'm not sure, I think we were talking to one of the guys that are contractors for us, because we contract locally. And they were interested in asking us to look at Sauk Village's building. I didn't know much about Sauk Village, so I'd have to confess that. But, so we came over, took a look, and when you go out, when I'm passing by going, I'm thinking of the houses that I see on 384. But when I came into the community, I was impressed. I was very impressed, and I said, wow, this would be a great place for young families to live. So I got interested and sort of caught the bug of coming back.
Okay, a question about the financing.
Sure.
As far as fitting into the scope of this already existing homes, I mean, where some of the prices of the homes now are in the $20,000 and $30,000 range, and so you want to build a home next to it with in the range, the value of $130,000+.
Yes.
And how does that actually fit into the finance financing?
That's a good question. Let me bring up one. Here comes April Shakur. And April and I have worked together several times in situations like that. And she's a mortgage banker. And she sort of directs me and tells me what to do. You know, like your wife says, go to the refrigerator, get this. April's that kind. So I have to defer to April on how she does that.
We had a similar situation in another community not too far from here, where the properties were valued at $30,000 to $40,000 when we were putting in some affordable housing. What I was able to do was ascertain an area that had similar housing to what we were putting up, that was actually going to be comparable to our housing. So when we were getting the values for our housing when we were doing our FHA loans, we were able to actually use comps that were a little bit further outside of our area to get that good value there. I'm sorry, I speak softly, I apologize. I said basically what I do is I look and see what areas have homes comparable to what we're trying to put in, and then we use the values from that. So our housing is very affordable, 130 to 150. A lot of times you're going to see these houses are going to be actually priced a lot higher outside of the community. So what we're going to do is bring that value into the community and start raising our county.
In fact, the lender allows you to go outside. If you have a house and you got to go out, you decide that you can find the nearest house to that, and that's how we do that.
Well, one good thing too is our homes, they were about 2 years ago in the 20s and 30s. Last I checked, I think we're heading back up to the 60s and 70s. So, I mean, we're starting to see a turnaround with the home values in our community. So, which I think is good. But something like this would also increase the values of the homes.
Yeah, FHA allows that because they recognize communities have to build up, so they allow you to build a home.
You guys gotta speak up.
I'm sorry. FHA allows that because they recognize communities need to go out and raise their values. And so you can go and take that home and look for the nearest home in another community and they'll price that. And that's what we've done.
The other thing too is I just put a2016.org. So I got their website. So Alliance Affordable Horizons for the disenfranchised.
And that's a combination of all of us together because it takes a number of disciplines to really deliver smart housing and also housing for seniors who can sit at home and talk to their doctor. Or for parents who want security and safety. And we can build that in where you can be looking on your cell phone when your kid walks in the house. And he says, Mom, I'm home. There's no, you're not. I'm looking in the car and I know you're not there. So we build that into each of the homes.
All right, let's see, let's get Trustee Burgess and then go with Trustee Williams.
Thank you. Yes, I have a few questions. The first question, sorry about that, I thought I had it on. Vibrate. First question, you said your homes are going to be from between 130 and 150.
Correct.
And so you said you're going to look for areas that are comparable and I guess build there. Because even if it's 60,000 or if a home is worth 60,000, you put 135 next to it. I don't know who's going to, because I'm pretty sure whoever buys a house is looking at the area they're buying and then looking at what the homes are worth in the area that they're buying.
You know, that's an interesting comment. We try to look at the area. In Chicago, when you have city dwellers, I mean, I can tell you right now, you could be around the corner from somebody that has $1 million home and, you know, you got basically dumpy apartments. So I'm not sure. I think what people are looking for, well, the customers we have, safety, security for their children, a good school system. That's really some of the most important things that are driving consumers right now. Not necessarily value, because their kids are getting shot on the street. And they really are looking, what we're hearing, we were just in Aurora, and what we're hearing is that they have more requests for this type of housing coming from neighborhoods in Chicago than they have room.
Now, your company, what are you actually looking, are you looking for the village to do anything, or what? I mean, because I'm looking at, you said you're going to place it on a lot.
We don't need any funding from the village, or we're not looking for anything like that. All we do is look at the lots and see what's available for the consumer. Is it a location? Maybe we might get consecutive or non-consecutive. And we are funded by this lady.
Okay. Now, what about basements? Because you said you're going to put it on a lot. Are you going to dig out, basements included?
We have some requests for basements and some requests for crawl space. It depends on what you're qualified for.
Okay, because
Some
I'm looking
people
at
may
your
not
house.
be qualified enough to get a basement. It depends on what your down payment assistance is.
Oh, okay, so it's basically what you can afford.
It's what you can afford. We size that. That's why we go from 130 to 150.
Okay, and my last question, and Trustee Jones alluded to it a little bit, how you found Sauk Village, but you're looking for a land that you don't have to knock down the property. You're looking for a vacant lot, basically.
Primarily, we would look for vacant lots. If we really liked the lot, we needed to knock it down. We try to figure out how to do that also. But yeah, we look for vacant lots that already have the infrastructure, the water that we can hook up, or electricity.
Okay, because I was thinking you were looking for maybe 2 or 3 acres that you could put the same type of home. In other words, bring out a development.
No, what we found, our market is not that, because what you'll find is a lot of communities like, so you're never gonna get a contiguous set of lots anywhere. You're gonna have to look at how you can fit in what's in the community right now. And that's really why we have decided to go with All-American, because it is modular, it's built off-site, we can bring it in and set it on the lot and get it ready in less than, in about 45 days without disrupting and saying, oh, we gotta build, in order to do this, we got 20 lots, we gotta have all of this property. So
Okay.
we're sort of a new, I think we're the new way that houses will be built, basis the last bubble that came, that left a lot of property developed and undeveloped. And you'll find within that lots all over the place. And that's really the environment that we see everywhere.
Because the reason why I'm saying that, you don't, at least most people don't want to be the #1 house in the neighborhood, because that's the last house that'll sell. If every other home in your neighborhood sells for $60,000 less than what you're buying, you cannot sell your house once you buy it. The other ones will sell first. You don't want to be the most expensive house in the neighborhood. Then again, you don't want to be the least expensive. So you want to kind of fit in. But if the homes that you're talking about building are in a neighborhood that's $60,000 less than what you're talking about building, because as we all know, once you start building a home, once you get into buying a home that's being built, your costs are going to go up, because if you want a light switch, if you want an extra box, if you want anything extra, that's extra added cost other than what it is that you're going to buy. So you can have the base price at $135, but by the time you get through with the add-ons, you may be up to $190.
No, not at all, not with us. We build everything in. We do one price. We don't want a house for $190, because our marketplace, the consumers can't afford that.
Right.
So what we do is we give them a set amount of things that we'll do for $150.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. If you say 150 gets this type of upgrade, not upgrades, but this type of home, and you want upgrades, don't they? I mean, that's the best time.
Normally in our situation, we put in upgrades already, because we're getting it from All-American. We don't have to, we don't have to do that. Mostly our upgrades, people come and they want exactly what we're getting.
Oh, okay.
Because they couldn't afford a house anyway.
First time I heard of that. But
it's a new
it
paradigm.
must be.
It's a very new paradigm.
It must be, because usually that's where if you want an extra light switch, or you want this included in that, you want different type of flooring, you want different type of walls, you want an island a little bit different because this is your house that you haven't built, that's the best time to do it.
Well, normally the people that we're talking to can't afford all of that.
Okay, but 130,000 versus 60,000. I mean, you're talking about your mortgage
The
being
square footage also.
correct.
Sometimes they want the 130 is maybe a couple. They don't need they don't have a family. Square footage plays a role in that price. So, and what we found is you might have a husband and wife who just live together, and they don't want to do it. They want the basics, and we do a pretty sizable upgrade right there. Everything comes with it.
Because you have a two-story.
Refrigerator, washer, dryer. It's all done.
Because you have a two-story here, 2,100 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and you're saying that's 130 to 190.
No, that's not the one we would be offering. We have a set of offerings. Remember, we can build any amount of housing, but what we look at is what goes with that community. And so that would not be the one we'd be building.
Okay, because basically I'm looking at, for that price, it's a ranch rather than a bi-level or
That's
duplex,
correct. That's
right?
correct.
And, I'm just looking
You
at...
can't get a bi-level at 150.
Yes, because if you could, yeah, I could see you selling that if you could do that, but mostly it would be ranches at that price.
We are doing 2 stories at that price, yeah.
How many homes have you, and since you've been together, have you guys built?
We just got communities right now. We're building about 5 of them right now for buyers that she has. April and I have built these homes for a while, and we also have Bunting Homes out of Braidwood, Illinois. He's been building the same kind of homes for like 20 years. So we all come together to do it.
That's what I'm saying. Since you guys have been together, since all of you, because it seems like it's a startup company.
We built about 20 before, and now we're building, we're starting, we had to stop because the mortgage money wasn't there. And now there's more mortgage money out now, and the market is going up. Whereas before, you could not get 3% rates. And so it didn't make any sense to build for someone who couldn't afford that kind of home. Like the USDA, we'll build in USDA areas, and they'll give you discounts as low as 1%, 1.5% mortgage.
And does it make a difference what type of community? Because I'm sure government money, and then you're going to have people that qualify. Is there a certain income that you have to buy that?
What happens is, if you're getting an FHA mortgage, you do have to qualify by FHA rules. It depends on what you're buying and how much it costs, and that's a formula that FHA has, and it's up to April to manage that for the consumer.
Okay, maybe I should ask April, what communities are we talking Tinley Park, Orland Park, Country Club Hills, Matson, or are we talking Harvey, Phoenix, Dixmoor, University Park, those type of communities?
I'm sorry. I said, normally we are not building in those communities that you mentioned. We are really focused in areas like Joliet, and we go west of that. We are going south to Braidwood, where our contractor is. We are in northwest Indiana. In fact, we are in discussions right now with Gary, Indiana, of which we're talking about combining student housing with regular housing.
Yeah, Indiana University, yeah.
Yeah, they have the university quarter, and so we pick our communities because not every community is right for this, and we're not right for every community.
Okay.
So we're not in some of the communities that have a lot more issues than we can deal with.
Okay. You didn't answer my question. I just wanted to kind of find out where.
Yeah, we're west. We're west. We're all the way west. We're Joliet. We're coming around to northwest Indiana, and we normally team up with the large real estate brokers of that area because they usually have 200 to 300 of these buyers looking for homes from 130 to 150 who can't buy them, and new homes in all of those areas are 200,000.
Okay. Because I'm sure the mayor knows and Trustee Williams knows. It was two similar companies that came out to actually start a community right here behind the village. And there was another one that was right adjacent to the school, Rickover School, but then they found out that was a floodplain. And they had similar type of issues. They were, I call them warehouse housing. Warehouse house. In other words, you build it and you erect a house at a warehouse and you bring it out in pieces, you know. And they wanted to bring out the homes to put this fabulous house on there, but the homes were 40 feet wide and the property was 45 feet. And
well, just to address that, in each community, we look at the setbacks. We make sure that we are within regulation of what each community is different. What the setbacks are in Joliet will be different than what they are here. What the setbacks would be in northwest Indiana, say Gary, or say Sherville or Maryville, they would be different. So what we in fact, we were dealing with that issue today in that when we get a request on a lot, we look at exactly what the city requires, and we can design that house to that. So
right.
we don't have any
And
issues.
you're not looking for any breaks on the certificates or the, as far as getting the different licenses. And,
When you say breaks, what do you
I'm talking about from the village. You know, you have certain.
Whatever it costs, that's what we pay.
Okay, okay.
I assume that's what you're saying.
Yes.
Yes.
I just have a couple questions. Trustee Burgess kind of covered some of them, but on the one, there's no page numbers, but
Okay.
second to the last page, he mentioned the 190, and so are you only, your company offers homes between 130 and 190, but you would only be marketing 130 to 150 here?
Normally, I think that's the range of house we'll be offering here. Now, we do have consumers who'll say, look, I want all of these things that I can get. I want a basement, I want you to do this, I want 2,500 square feet. I want, you know, normally, we don't do that, you know, but what we've seen is our range in our target market that we're going after in terms of the consumer who can pay what we want, because we truly are affordable housing, is 130 or 150.
Okay, I was just, because on your flyer or whatever here, it says 190. Okay, and so then,
It's not, if you're saying, would I turn down somebody want to build a home for 190? No, I tell them where to go.
I was just curious because you kept saying 130 to 150. And
That's our normal
here
range.
it says 190.
Yeah, that's our normal range. And that's been changed, by the way.
Okay,
That's the older version.
and so through the process,
Yes,
you said that you gave, buyers would have a certain set of, you know, this is what we offer, this is.
amenities, yes.
So do they get to choose like paint colors, different types of countertops versus cabinets or whatever?
Yes, cabinetry. You can upgrade the cabinetry, you can upgrade the refrigerators, stoves. All of that comes from all of them.
And all this can be done in a 30-day turnaround?
45.
45,
Yeah.
okay.
It comes with the house. When we bring it out, it has all that in it. All we have to do is finish it off.
Okay. And then, so, let's say that, I bought one of these properties. Do you guys have a stipulation of how long a person would have to be the homeowner in this property? Or if I bought the property and then decided to make it an income property, and I moved out and then rented it out, do you guys have a stipulation on that?
We don't have any control over that. That would be the city and their regulations as to whether or not you allowed it to be a rental or not. I mean, what we're doing is going by an FHA mortgage. So if you wanted to rent it out, you may do that on your own, or there may be an ordinance that says you can't do that. Some of the cities say, hey, you can't do that, you know, so, but that wouldn't be up to us. When you bought it. But let's say you were there 2 years or something, you wanted to sell it, you can't, you know, nothing.
Right, selling it would be one thing,
Right.
but if somebody purchased it and then decided that they were gonna move out of Sauk and move to income property, that was my. 'Cause
The
it's-
question you have to be concerned about, if you're gonna use down payment assistance, they have requirements that you live in the home for a certain time. So if you're getting, like in Will County, the people that we're getting housing from, they get 17% down payment assistance plus $7,500 if they qualify for the state home fund. So they get a total of $24,000. There are stipulations when you get those dollars that you have to live in a home for, so I'm not sure how many years it is, but I can find it. I think each county has something different. I'm not sure what Cook has, but I know what Will County and I know Kane County has something different also.
Okay, because I think that something that we've talked about as a board is kind of trying to find ways to find home ownership. You know, we do have a lot of, I won't say a lot, but we do have a good number of landlords who have a large number of homes and they're using, you know, income properties, which is fine, but I think as a community, we talked about having more younger couples or other, you know, just couples settling down and being homeowners and taking responsibility for their homes and kind of being a part of the village in that way. So that was just my question.
And that drives to the point that most of our buyers need down payment assistance. And when you get that, that requires you to be a homeowner. So that sort of takes care of that.
Thank you.
So these are mainly first-time home buyers?
They can be first-time home buyers, but you do not have to be. You can get down payment assistance if you're a second-time home buyer. You cannot get state funds if you're a first-time home buyer, if you're not a first-time home buyer. There are two sets of home funds. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're within a certain income limit, you get the $7,500. If you are a home buyer, and there are a set of rules that you qualify for home funds, whether you're a first-time or a second-time home buyer.
So are the majority of your clients first-time home buyers?
It varies. You know, we have, yes, the ones that are going in now, what we're working with C21 on, which they have about 250 who are out in that western suburb who can't buy anything. They're going to all be first-time home buyers. And we're looking for those lots right now and getting them on. So I would imagine they would all be first-time home buyers. I would say
Trustee Tate?
majority.
Even to both of them. What is the anticipated cost of the lots that you're talking about?
Well, in most cases, in Joliet, they give us a list, and what they're looking for is tax revenue. They just give us a lot. That's what's happening in Joliet, and also in Gary and in Northwest Indiana.
Okay, earlier, people talked about the cost of the homes. Does that include the lot?
It does.
It does? And what amenities
That
do you
keeps the
provide?
house down, keeps the price of the house down.
Okay, what amenities are included in your, if I can call it a package?
Okay. We get cabinetry, tile, carpeting. In ours, it's stove, refrigerator, high-end, washer and dryer, and then there's all of the lighting and everything. It's really set to go the minute you walk in the door. All you do is put your furniture in.
And the connection fees that are attributed to all of these things, is that included in the price?
Yes. Yeah, we have to connect to electricity. We have to, we go and get, we have the electrical contractor, he pulls his permit, and he goes out and does that. The customer sees none of that.
Okay.
It's all built into the price.
All right, driveways, garages?
Garages, if they want, but in many times, if you look at our homes, the garages are included, you know, in that, because that's, in snow time, that's a big thing, especially the single moms. We even have a product coming out for single moms, and that has security. We're working, I think, with Comcast on that one, but where they can tell if their child is in the home, or their child is playing outside while they're working or coming home in a life. And so we are developing a whole product just for single moms.
What about the plumbing? What kind of materials are used in your plumbing aspect?
Standard, whatever the HUD rate is, and we I'm not sure, Jeff, it's time for you to come back up to answer that question appropriately.
That's right.
I'm not the engineer in the room, you have to excuse me.
Now, the standard plumbing that we use is PEX, cross-linked polyethylene.
Right.
As far as all the other products, then we use Anderson windows, Merillat cabinets, NAFCO floor tile, Shaw carpet, Seagull lighting. It's all national brands, it's all fully warranty, and they would have a choice of, we use Wilson Art countertops, they have a choice of 50 different colors, NAFCO flooring, 16 different colors. So when you talk about upgrades and all that, no, it doesn't go $40,000 in upgrades. They could choose 100 different variations and never vary a penny, because it's all included in the package.
Okay. My question kind of surrounded the use of copper when I was talking about plumbing.
We can use type L, which I believe is the code here that we have to use in Illinois.
Cook County has copper, however, or can use
Right, and correct, and we're set up to do both. So if you do, like I say, they do use a type L copper over here, which is required. We do that, or we use PEX. PEX does not react to water, so you don't get that kind of buildup. It's a much better product, and so we try to use that. But where code requires, we use the other at no extra cost.
Can I just say, we ask for variances. We have, in Indiana, or we run into, we'll go out and ask for a variance.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Myers, got a question? The other thing too is, I know we talked about the other two housing developments. I know some of the residents might have heard that both those housing developments happened before the housing bubble burst. So, behind the village hall, there was a housing development started, and when the housing bubble burst, everything just stopped. And then same thing with the one down the street here in Torrance. They were getting ready to start in the housing market. There was a housing development that wanted to build across the street before the housing market busted. So
we find that a lot there, and that's sort of where we fill in the gap, is come in with this kind of housing, because that's what we're seeing all over the country.
Trustee Myers.
What's the minimum size lot that you will build one of your homes on?
Our minimum width is 24 feet. So, and we have a 35-foot wide lot by 50-foot deep we can put a house.
Ours minimum size 6,000 square feet on the property, a lot. And
Yes.
Because we do 24-foot wide house, that's our minimum width, we do shotgun style.
Oh, okay.
That's down there. Yeah, we do narrow lot structures. If you ever been to the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, that energy efficient house in the middle, we built that's Neiman Marcus.
This is, I forgot to talk about this now. You ever put up one of your home for an extra house? So like $25. Or that was selling for $25, or was on the market for $25. You built one of yours next to that. You ever done that?
No, we haven't ever done that, but that would not, I mean, Jeff,
I can tell you, because I cover the entire Midwest and part of Canada, we've done that many times. You don't have a choice if you're trying to raise the property values of the city. You don't have a choice. You can't build a house for $20,000.
Right.
So you have to put them in. As I said, they're going to look for comps of new houses not existing. So they will say, what is the comparable cost if you're building this new house? And our square footage price is generally about 20 to 30% less than a site because of the efficiencies done in our factory. So by us going in next to a house that is already at $60,000, we are raising the value of that house as well, but through government subsidies and other processes. We have done that in many places. Yeah. You have to go in, if you're going to help the community go up, the only thing you can do is put in some nice homes.
I should also say that one of the things that's happened since the bubble is that there is now a huge demand for new housing at very affordable prices. So people will go to a lot. It used to be, well, go ahead, sign up, you can get this house tomorrow, $300,000, and you only have half of a job. But that's not the case anymore. And so people are looking for affordable housing. If you go to any community in the western suburbs or where they're building, or even Northwest Indiana, I mean, they see people coming over there, and lots are going up by $36,000. You know, so you're finding home buyers who are saying, I need a new house, I need a good community where my kids aren't going to get hurt, and I need a good school system. And if I can get that, I'm satisfied.
This pamphlet that you have has dates on it, is this a seminar you have?
No, I was asked to put together by JW dates. He said, well, look, I was going to give us a sample of what you would do and what the project piece would be. Would be start looking for the property. If you look, all those dates are really just talking about our activity when we start to build something, and it gives you a timeline. Yeah, just a timeline of when you said, hey, here's a lot, and what we do from the time we get the lot till the time we build a house. That's what those dates are for. And he asked me for a timeline so I could give you a real-time example.
Trustee Williams?
Just one quick question. Are the mortgages 30-year or is there options?
You know what, I'd like to answer that question, but I don't control the icebox.
I think it's
30-year fixed.
you want something different?
Yes.
My question, Mr. Kerr, I think you mentioned that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said that FHA, you contact FHA to expand the radius or the area when you're looking for comparable home prices.
I think it's the lender she contacts who works with FHA. It's not FHA per se. If it's Wells Fargo or Chase, all these people work through lenders, and they have their requirements, so they allow us to go out to that particular house, because everybody knows that when you're in the way to build that, the lenders know it, that you have to go out and get a comp that's comfortable, and they allow you to do that. And that's happening in the industry, and I think Ludo Obama and others who sort of made those deals with Chase, that's what's happening right now. It's far more lenient than it used to be.
Okay, I'm trying to get a feel for what radius you're talking about expanding into. Because if you go 30 miles from Sauk Village to find a comparable home, you may not find it. If you go 50 miles, you may in fact find a comparable home. So I'm trying to get an idea of visualization of what the radius is that you're speaking of.
We don't have a specific radius that we work by. What we do is we go into the community and start to build a home there. What's going to happen is the lender is going to allow us to get the appraiser out in the market and look and see what our options are. So he's going to actually determine where the closest comparable is going to be. And at that point, we'll be able to ascertain what our value is going to be from there. But keep in mind though, once you get the first 1 or 2 houses in the ground, here's your comps. So the goal is to let them allow us to put something in right away using comparable variables that are a little bit further away. But as we start building our community, the comps are going to come right from inside the community. So it's just going to be like a matter of 3 months.
Okay, and the reason kind of supporting that, my question was that when we have had tax seminars, and the county taxing authority as well as Bloom Township, they look for comparables, but they won't let you go to Olympia Fields, which may be 35 miles or 40 miles from here, to find comparables. So that's why I'm asking that question, because the home value in Olympia Fields is going to be far different than what you find in Sauk Village.
It's going to be different, but you have to keep in mind that you can't build a house that's worth $200,000 and say that you can only sell it for $20 because it's next to a $20,000 house. You have to find a property that is going to be similar to that property in order to develop that comp. Now, if you take this particular home, these houses that we're building right now, between 130 and 150, you put them in some place like Olympia Fields, you're actually going to pay more for this property. These are very high-end properties. So the fact that we're bringing them here, it is an affordable housing price. So the prices that you're going to see are going to actually bring up the community's pricing here. And like I said, after the first couple go into the ground, we'll use our own comps, our own homes as the comps.
So for a potential home buyer, they would contact someone in your staff and you would evaluate them and what level of property they can afford.
My job is to make sure that you don't get too much house. You get exactly what you want. You get exactly what you want, but at a price you can afford. So I know a lot of times people want to go in and get the $190,000 house. My job is to tell them you can afford it. You have to put them in the property that they can afford. So first thing you do is to get in touch with me. I will go ahead and go through the whole application process and see exactly what kind of amounts we are working with. At that time, they can start building their home, and we'll be able to put them in that range of the 130 to 150 to make sure that they fit specific months. Some people can get to 130, some people can't. I mean, some people get 150, some people can't.
Okay, now at that stage, you have potential lenders in mind for that applicant.
My company is a lender.
Okay.
We're a direct lender.
Okay, then you automatically pair them up and say that, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to downgrade. You can't go 190, you can go
Exactly.
whatever the downgrade level is.
I have to keep them in a certain debt ratio
Okay, based upon their income.
based on their income and their debts, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think also to add to that, April is not their first stop. Their first stop would be the subsequent realtor, because they need someone to protect their interests. So we get them with the realtor right away on the buyer side, and then we're on the seller side.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the first part.
To answer, the first stop would not be April. It would be C20, the realtors that we're working with.
Okay.
Because in any transaction, you need protection. And so you have the realtor on the seller side and the realtor on the buyer side in order to protect that particular consumer.
And that's prior to them speaking with you, correct?
Once they ascertain that they want to buy a home, then they come in.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. So, I guess what we'll do is have you work with JW, with the next steps. And,
Okay.
I know you're probably looking for, you're going around looking for vacant properties.
We are.
So you'll take the next step, once you get your timeline started. If you can just let JW know, so JW can update the board every so often on where we're at. And we'd love as a board to come out and see the first home build.
We can't wait to do that and then broadcast it all over YouTube.
That'd be great. So, thank you very much. Thanks for bringing everyone. You didn't need your whole entire army to back you up, so that's
Well, we
good.
never know, we come prepared.
So, all righty, thank you very much.
Thank you, Council.
All right, move to item number 3, budget ambulance rate increase.
Mayor, I got a
So,
question.
there's no questions at this point, you have to wait. All right, public comments after the next one. So, all right, sir, order. All right, budget ambulance service. How you doing? Everyone should have received the letter in their packets. We've asked Buds to be here to go over this, see if you had any questions. So I don't know if you have something you want to start with.
Yeah, if I could go ahead and start, if that's
Okay,
okay.
that'd be great.
Thank you for letting me have time with you guys. My name's Ron Robertson, I'm the Chief Operating Officer for P.L.A.N.
You can just speak a little bit closer if you would.
Okay, on March of this year, we sent a letter out to you, Mayor, and the trustees, notifying you that we're gonna do a rate increase for our general appraisal, general customers in the towns we service. It has nothing to do with the villages themselves. There's no increase in the village of Sauk Village for, in fact, in the 2017, I believe, in March of last year, you guys signed a 3-year agreement with us, and our rates still go up into 2017 for the village. This is a normal and customary rate, the first time we've done any kind of rate increase in 4 years. We all know the cost of living's gone up quite a bit in 4 years, and cost of operations. And for the general public, what it basically means is we still are going to be billing Medicare, public aid, HMOs, PPOs, a lot of the fun stuff that's out there today. So you won't probably see a cost because we bill them directly to the insurance companies. We don't bill directly to the residents as long as you have insurance. If you don't have insurance, we work with you to make your payments. You know, but we're very comparable to anybody else, but it has nothing to do with direct cost to the village.
All right, everyone has the letter, they've received the price list along with the updated price list. And does any trustees have any questions? Wow. Trustee Tate.
Does not go directly to this. It's kind of history with Sauk Village. I recall that we did enter the last agreement with you guys. Subsequent to that, I noticed that we were not currently paying for these services. Has that been corrected?
At this time, the village is a little behind on payments. No matter whether you guys made the payments on time or not, we've never altered our service to the village. We've
Correct.
always showed up. We don't charge anything extra. We don't charge interest rates. I mean, every now and then I'll call the fire chief and say, bug somebody about maybe getting some payments. I mean, you're a little behind, but we understand.
Yeah.
The state of Illinois is behind paying us too.
Well, that's my only concern. By our delinquency, I did not want it to affect the quality of service provided to the
It will not
residents of Sauk
affect
Village.
any kind of service to you guys at all.
Thank you.
Trustee Mears.
We still want to honor the rest of our agreement. If the gas prices goes up, we get it right. Gas prices goes up, you'll bill us the month after that. So if gas prices goes back down, we won't, that charge won't be carried over. Is that right? I think it's 2%, if I'm not mistaken.
2 to 4%.
Right.
And then, just so you probably remember, you've been around a while. I think in the last 4 years, we've only 1 or 2 months charged extra for the gas. And that was when it was like $4.90 a gallon.
Yeah. I noticed in your paperwork, and I was kind of surprised, is that you haven't changed your basic rates since 2012?
Correct. We're a family-owned business, and we understand we live in these communities as well. So we understand what it costs to do business and make it affordable for people that need to have it.
What is the LSCT? Is that a certain
That's
transport?
special care transport. That's like if you go to St. James, Chicago Heights, and you need to be trauma transferred to Christ because you were in a bad car accident or you got a bad cardiac condition. That's a special care transport. It's a higher level of education for our paramedics. It's a specialized, there's a lot more drones, a lot more pumps and equipment.
I noticed a few times on the calls that we get a supervisor or a med car, I think you call it, on the most critical accidents we got.
We have a supervisor on duty 24 hours a day, 7
Yes.
days a week. And usually, you know, if they're out there coming in, major calls, full arrest, problem calls, and if they don't show up, a lot of times you get stuck seated.
Maybe a silly question, your rate's pretty compatible with the rest of them out there?
100%.
Any other questions? Trustee Tiggs.
How is this going? I'm sure you're aware that St. James is Chicago Heights, it's got more on the inside in some respects. How is this going to affect by the fact that now you have to go to other medical facilities that are further away than St. James?
All it's going to affect is us spending more money on gas, patient care. You know, in reality though, and you have to read up on it, trustee, because I do know that St. James is offering monies to towns to subsidize, help subsidize their ambulance service because of the distances they're going to be traveling. I just saw that in the paper the other day. So you got to keep that in mind. I don't know.
Well, the last thing I saw, they were providing at the Chicago Heights. I didn't see Sauk Village.
I didn't pay attention to the towns, but I know there were like 5 or 6 listed. But yeah, it won't affect, you guys at all. It's going to affect us with mileage and wear and tear of the vehicle. That's what doing business is all about. Anyway.
Any other questions? All right, here you know when these going to affect on May the 1st, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. You know what we'll do is let's go ahead and we probably should have this posted somewhere just so the residents know the new increases. So, okay. Yes, trustee.
Do you mind if we leave that out?
No, you're welcome to post it. That's not a problem.
So we'll post the new rates so the residents know. There's no surprises.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you very much. All right. All right, public comment. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on topics of their choice. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. If you have something, please come to the podium. Can someone run out our mic out there, please? The mic is there. Public comment. Rose is there.
I'm so disgusted. I really am. I am outraged. We have the county coming out here to help us out, to tear down the nasty homes because people can't afford to stay there or choose not to because of the way the village is being run or not run. And you have the audacity to tell these group of Mayor, I'm talking to you, because this is directed to you, of course. You have the audacity to tell these people, oh, I'll be glad, we'll be fortunate, we'll be working with you. Go pick out some properties. Have you talked to your board? Are they sitting here watching you? That was a question. Have you talked to the board about, has this been voted on? Or has JW decided that they can, how was it said, the gentleman said they'll be bringing people in from Chicago. To me, that's called steering. And I don't think that's right. And it never has been, it never will be. Where the heck do you think that? How do you like this, Mr. Burgess? You're going to get new neighbors? I'm not. I'm watching them tear down 2 houses right kitty corner from my house. Oh, since everything's also directed to you, Mr. Mayor, how do components differ from prefab? Or what is an AA1? The term vouchers was used. How is that going to be used? How are vouchers going to be used for homeowners? I thought that was just renting. Mr. Mayor, do you know this? You're telling them to have a ball, go pick out some property. Let's see. Are they going to have screens on these homes or gutters? Are they going to have Anderson windows, which is right. I mean, which is good, I guess. Are they going to be double pane? Are they going to have storm windows, storm doors, sidewalks, sump pumps? Do they know about our water? That's about all I had to say on this. It's ridiculous.
All righty. I know there's a lot of things talked about here from the resident. What you had tonight was you had a presentation from a group that is interested in Sauk Village. When it comes to voting on if they can come to Sauk Village, there's no need for a vote. Anybody can buy any property. They can take a permit out and they can build a house where it's residential. So what they're doing is getting the village board to inform the village board what they're interested in doing and what they're going to do. So anyone sitting in this audience can find a vacant property, can have a house tore down, and have a house built back on it. All they have to do is get the permits. They've already said they're willing to buy all the permits that's needed. They're willing to get the licenses for their contractors. So, you know, they are, like you said, it's new, but they are building houses in other areas. They mentioned Aurora, Joliet. They mentioned Northwest Indiana. Mentioned Gary. He did. He also mentioned Maryville and Cherville. So he talked about Gary over by their university. So again, you have to, first of all, as a board, we listen to the presentation, and they'll be working through our code enforcement and getting the permits. Just like they said, they'll follow the BOCA codes. You talk about, you know, how they're getting their loans. They talk about FHA. They talk about HUD. They talk about vouchers when it comes to, depending which county you're in, first-time buyers. Those are vouchers that they provide to first-time buyers so they can get a certain percent of their money. So that voucher may be for $7,500, which was mentioned here tonight. $7,500 to go toward that new home to help a first-time buyer. So again, this is first time, if I can remember right, and don't quote me on this. People like to try to quote me. This is one of the first times I can remember anyone talking about coming and building homes in Sauk Village since before the market crashed. So we're seeing a turnaround. We know that when the market crashed, Sauk Village homes plummeted. And got some good news a couple weeks ago about how home values are going up. I talked to some realtors. I talked to some of the people buying homes. For quite some time, we saw investors coming in and picking up homes for anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000. I was talking to an investor the other day. He stopped by and said, "Hey, Sauk Village doesn't have any more of these homes." And that's where he said the homes are starting at $60,000 and going up. So that tells us our housing market, housing home values are going up in Sauk Village. Will they ever go back to where they were? You know, we can remain hopeful, but I don't see it. I don't see it nationwide. In the entire United States, house values going back where they were. There was loan officers out there that were crooked, that led people wrong, and a lot of people lost their homes because of greed and because of crooked loan officers when it came to the housing market. So that's where we're at there. But again, I am excited to see when the first homes go up, and I am excited to see if they're going to be able to help residents. And they talked about bringing hopefully potential jobs to local people and helping out when it comes to building these homes. So whenever you have any type of expansion, any type of building, that brings revenue to your community. That puts people to work, When they come in here, they're gonna buy their coffee at Dunkin' Donuts or at McDonald's. They're gonna buy their lunch here while they're working. Again, it gets people coming through your community to see these homes. And again, it's helping people, and it's also helping bring people to Sauk Village. So, all right, next. All right, I don't see anyone, so we'll move to miscellaneous. Trustee Williams. Okay, Trustee Burgess.
Mr. Mayor, a couple of things.
Oh, sorry.
I'm asking now that we can put on the agenda for the next committee meeting, meeting with CalCom, that we can get an update from them between, it's been a year now, and we're hearing different things, so we kind of I would like to see if we can get them out here at the next committee meeting so we can get an update from them. This one. And then also, it was mentioned, I didn't see where, I did see the letter that was sent out of us getting money, of different communities getting money from St. James. I just want to know that, was our community included, or did you find out, are we getting any money from St. James Hospital or Franciscan Hospital? Okay. Also, next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, next Wednesday, I will be having a meeting. Public Works meeting will be next Wednesday here at the village at 7 o'clock. That's all I have. I haven't gotten anything yet from Mr. Fairman, so I'm hoping that, well, we have our meeting next Wednesday, so it would have to be before then. I mean, either after then, but I need to get the paperwork. Yeah. Right, it had to be next, which will be the third Tuesday, right. Next Wednesday, 2nd, yes. Okay, so I'll have a meeting before then, but I just need to get the paperwork to find out exactly what we're talking about and what the stipulations are.
Trustee Tates.
The presentation we just received concerning the housing, I think is an issue that would have been important to the Housing Committee to review and perhaps provide some input. And I don't know if the Housing Commission saw this information and had the opportunity to do likewise. But since you have these two groups of individuals in Sauk Village, it would have been good to have some input from both of them. Just so there's clarification on some issues. The second thing is that, and I haven't told them yet, to Trustee Jones, the Easter egg hunt, I think went very well. It was well attended. The negative comments I have regarding that was that we had a volunteer who attended that event that policed up the area, cleaning up trash, put it in the garbage barrels that we have out there. And I just don't think that it's the proper appearance that we want to have, especially for visitors to go on cleanup duty. But I'm glad they did do that. It kind of helped before the bulk of the crowd got there. The second part was, I remember that the comment was made, or request was made to do something to make that area by the community center a safe area, and this is the water, moat, swamp, wetland, whatever it's called, detention pond that's over there. Floating in the water on Saturday were blue trash barrels. And I asked some of the volunteers from Parks and Rec to talk to the parents to make sure no children were playing near that area and fall into the water. And what piqued my interest even more was I remember when the question was asked about securing that area, the comment came out that we want to maintain the appearance of the area and put up any barricades or anything over there would distract from the appearance of the area. I'm a little more concerned about the safety of children who may be running and playing near water and accidentally find themselves in the water. So I just thought that was kind of odd thing. Lastly, I addressed with the Mayor Pro Tem at the meeting that I thought it would be a good idea to hear a plan or something that addresses the audit that we just completed, since there were numerous infractions that were repeat infractions, and yet to this day we have nothing to talk about what's going to be done to correct the problems that were identified in the audit. I'm not sure of the jobs that most people have had, but when there are repeat infractions, normally someone has to pay the price for that. And whether it's a week off without pay for not doing your job, 10 days for not doing your job, there should not be repeat infractions without some action to correct them. And we're seeing, or we saw in this last audit, repeat infractions, but I've yet to hear of what's been done or going to be done to ensure those things do not appear in the next audit. So it would be kind of nice to have some type of a plan that this administration has put together to address these deficiencies. That's all I have.
Regarding the audit, we did bring it up at our Budget and Finance Committee meeting last week. However, we just got the third quarter budget, and the entire meeting was focused on that. And we do have stated in our minutes, and we did say at that meeting, that our goal is to go over the audit, as you suggested at the last, as you suggested at our next meeting this month. But it may be pushed off until May's meeting, because what we're hoping to do at this month's meeting is go over the budget, because the budget ends at the end of this month, and we thought as a committee that it was more important to review the budget and then put the audit off until May, because the audit is something that's already happened. So it is something that Budget and Finance Committee has reviewed. We did talk with it with JW and with P.L.A.N to know that it's something that's prevalent, it's something that you asked for, and they are working on it. It's just the third quarter budget, we wanted to get a report out to the board as soon as possible on that, and now we have to do work on the budget for this month.
Something else that you guys had was doing something with our aging report. We talked about that a couple of months ago. And is that included? Have you guys decided to address the issues with the aging report, or is that on the back burner? What's going on with
We
that?
did discuss the aging report, and that was a couple of meetings ago during the meeting, and we asked P.L.A.N to present something, a simple document to the board. And I will say that I did tell him that the third quarter report was more important that we need to discuss. So I will remind him, he might have kind of put that back, because he was working on the third quarter and the budget, which ended this month, so I know he can do a kind of jump on a lot of things. So I will send him an email right now, actually, asking him about that report that I asked, and then we can make sure that goes out to the board.
Okay. And I'm not beating up on your committee. But I just think when we talk about the aging report, as we talked about Buzz ambulance earlier, when we're delinquent in paying bills, thus the aging report, I think something should be done to address those issues, to minimize that dollar amount, whatever it may be. And then, of course, the audit speaks for itself. Thank you very much.
Actually, Stephen, I know that if you use the word infractions, let's make sure we're very clear that the residents understand that when the audit is performed, the auditors provide suggestions. The auditors don't come in and tell you how to run your community. So what you consider as an infraction is a suggestion. The auditors said here also and inform the village that they understand that some of these suggestions will continue to probably be on the audit because there's a cost included, which they've talked about. Some of these suggestions require additional headcounts. And we all know that communities like Sauk Village and surrounding communities cannot afford to bring on additional headcount. So when you look at these suggestions, we look very seriously at some of these suggestions, and some of them, one of the suggestions that we're working on trying to come back with an amendment to the expense policy, where they were happy that we put an expense policy in place. However, their suggestion is that a person does not get paid until after it's been approved. So one of their suggestions is when you go to a seminar, you go anywhere, you're going to pay for it. You're going to fill out your expense report, you're going to turn it in, and their suggestion was after the expense report has already been approved and shows that all the receipts are there, then the individual would get their money back. That was one of the suggestions that were found in the audit, and that's one of the suggestions that she brought up during the meeting. So we are looking at some of these that can be pretty easily addressed. It's going to be a little bit of change to policy. We'll have to make some adjustments to our like, again, we use, for example, the expense policy. We'll have to make some changes to that. So just so everyone knows that we are looking at those. And probably within a couple months, again, we're right now too busy working on a budget. But within a couple months, we'll come back with some changes to some of our policies and present it to the board. But again, there's going to be changes to policies that employees are not going to like. Because can you imagine an employee having to go spend that money out of their pocket, come back with the receipts, and have those receipts approved prior to getting paid? That's something that the board's going to decide if they want to go with one of the suggestions from the auditors. All right, Trustee Jones.
Parks and Recs.
I know there was suggestion and infraction. I spoke of infraction, not suggestion. So please don't twist my words.
And you have right through. Go ahead.
Parks and Recs Committee meeting will be this Thursday, the first Thursday of every month, the 7th of this month, 7 o'clock in the community center. I just want to thank everyone that participated, that helped out, that helped stuff the eggs. The residents really appreciated it. To look at their faces, the kids look like they had a great time. The parents looked like they had a little freedom when some of the kids was doing the coloring books and everything. And I think it was a great turnout. And I just appreciate the volunteers. I appreciate everyone that made things a lot easier. It was a great turnout, and hopefully I could get more volunteers to help out with some of the upcoming events. And the summer program is still putting some of the finalizations on that for the summertime program when the kids get out of school. Still need volunteers for during the daytime hours from like 8:30 to like 3. If anyone's available or would like to volunteer to help out with the kids, that would be much appreciated. And that's it. Oh, and another thing, and everything went fine. It was just one person that was passing out flyers that shouldn't have been passing out flyers. And I hope that we have an understanding that we don't have that problem. Again, all we have to do is bring it up to the committee. I have a committee meeting this Thursday, and if you would like to pass out anything coming up, just present it to the committee, just as that's what the committee is for. Thank you.
Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to remind everyone that Neighborhood Watch will be having our regular meeting on next Monday, April the 11th at the fire station at 7 o'clock. As you know, Neighborhood Watch meets every second Monday of the month at the fire station. I also want to remind everyone that this coming Friday, we're going to be having an extra rehearsal for the play that's coming up at Rick Over on Friday, April the 15th. And our last Saturday rehearsal will be this coming Saturday at 11 o'clock to 1:30 at the community center. I want to thank all the people that called me on this week, and I want to thank all the people that's been inboxing me that want to be in the play. Some people didn't even know about the play, but they found out about it through other means, and I'm just so glad that everything is coming together. It's going to be comedy, it's going to be funny, it's going to be exciting. We have a lot of people in and out of the village that's participating in the play, and we are looking forward to having a great play. Only those that participated in the play will be coming back down to the community center, and we're going to have refreshments and take pictures with our special guests. We have one special artist, youth artist that's up and coming. He was on the Ellen DeGeneres show 2 months ago, and he's coming to Sauk Village. We are very happy about him and his manager and his team that's coming. We have people that's in the village that's doing different things in the play. So if you don't have your tickets yet, or if you can't come and you want to purchase a ticket, just see me, or you can come to the village hall and they'll take care of you at the front window as well. And that concludes my report.
Trustee Myers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple items. I've already received about seven entries for the parade. One good. I sent out 50 letters to the businesses, urging them to participate. It's a good way to advertise their business and so forth. That's where I got the 7 invitations already. Tomorrow I'll send out over 100 fire police entry. That'd be the first mailing. And usually you do a second mailing approximately about a month and a half later. And I'm planning a subcommittee meeting with the Ordinance Review Committee, April the 21st at 7 p.m. here. There's still a couple ordinances that we have to get off the books and get started on. And with that, I enjoyed coming to both of the Easter hunts that went downtown, and just see the kids enjoy themselves. Like Mr. Jones, how he has set up his, and especially the little ones that enjoyed themselves. It was a fantastic day at both of them. The kids enjoyed themselves. We had beautiful weather, and that's a tradition this town should keep forever. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all I have.
Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
Pastor Pitts is actually in the audience tonight, and he'd like you to inform you.
We can't hear you.
Okay. Get a microphone. That is your problem.
Okay, thank you. Pastor Pitts is in the audience tonight. He'd like me to read this to everyone. There's a health promotion community health fair with the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Theta Rho Omega chapter in partnership with Holy Praise Tabernacle Church of God in Christ. It's presenting a health fair promoting heart health, healthy eating tips, stroke awareness, diabetes awareness, mental illness. The guest speaker is Marianne Bythos from Advocate and National Alliance on Mental Illness. Saturday, April 9th, that's this Saturday, from 10 to 2 p.m. at the Holy Praise Tabernacle Church of God in Christ at 22132 Torrance Avenue in Sauk Village. Everyone is welcome, and it's hosted by the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Thank you very much. And I did ask him to send this to me so I can e-blast it for those who are not here tonight. Thank you.
All right, let's go through some of these things. So just so everyone is aware of, I know that Trustee Myers talked about the parade. The parade will be on July the 2nd. That'll be Saturday. We'll be presenting to the village board within the next couple of meetings fireworks. So we'll be having the fireworks that July 2nd also that night. We're looking for. We have to make sure the park, we're going to do everything back here in the park, so we'll be using the park the whole entire day on July 2nd, so make sure Parks and Recs understand. We've got public relations, we're going to public relations to start working on getting vendors. So if you guys can get your subcommittee going, so we want to make sure we have a full day of events on July the 2nd. All right, the St. James update. I'm just going to skim through this real quick. We have a memorandum of understanding with Francis St. James Hospital. As everyone knows, we sat on as mayor, I sat on a safety committee, working with mayors on the south suburbs, working with St. Francis. This is what we came up to. was, number one, they pledged to continue to serve the residents of Chicago South suburbs by investing $137 million in their hospitals. They maintain, number two, maintain CareLinks transportation service, a free resource that provides patients information about available public and subsidized transportation services. They're looking at an investment amount of $110,000 annually for this one. They are going to move the Francis Primary Care Clinic to the professional office buildings on the current Chicago Heights campus. That will be part of the $137 million investment. They will set up a Franciscan on-demand virtual health stations. There's going to be 3 points for public access. That's going to be approximately $75,000 for 3 stations. They're going to place primary care physician offices in communities most affected by transport issues and high patient care loads. That is an annual cost of about $200,000 a year per office for a total of $800,000 a year. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? Back to one. We're talking about setting up a Franciscan on-demand virtual health station. Their first one is going to be located in Fort Heights, and then they're looking at 2 other communities. So we'll be working on to see if Sauk Village can be one of those communities. Go to number 5, provide emergency medical services financial assistance. And this is where a lot of people have been talking about the financial aid. We're able, when St. Francis first came to the communities, they were offering about $25,000 per community. As mayors, we were able to join together, and St. Francis bumped it up to a total of $1.5 million. Of that $1.5 million, $300,000 will go to Chicago Heights, and then the other $600,000. Well, $600,000 is broke up into 2, and there's the region area number 1, which consists of Stager, Crete, and South Chicago Heights. There's $600,000 there, and we fall underneath region area number 2, which is Glenwood, Fort Heights, and Sauk Village. So we've got $600,000. I'm not going to go through everything, but the commitment is made knowing that many of the local communities are concerned about the impact of their ambulance services for the betterment of their community. St. James Health understands the concerns and vows to be a good partner with its surrounding communities and EMS leaders. While it's understood the mutual aid agreement between municipalities will always be in effect, Franciscan St. James Health wants to assist its surrounding communities to be able to provide appropriate ambulance coverage for their residents. These funds are to be used for vehicle acquisition, maintenance, equipment upgrades, other costs associated with patient transports. So as mayors, we're going to be sitting down and take a look about the funds and how they're going to be spent. We'll probably break down into our regions, which we talked about. You have Chicago Heights and region area number 1 and region area number 2. So we're able to get that in there. The other thing is build a state-of-the-art comprehensive urgent aid facility to address 83% of the patients. And that is at their Olympia Fields expansion. That's part of the $137 million investment. And everything from a health emergency department, staff board certified emergency medical physicians, nurses, paramedics, on-site testing, x-rays, CT, EKGs, ultrasound lab. There's a whole entire bunch of medical terms. I'm not going to go through all these. But that's part of the $137 million investment. And Franciscan St. James Health commits to working jointly with Chicago Heights to redevelop the area where they're tearing down the St. James Hospital, which is on the corner of Route 30 and Chicago Road. So they're going to work with them to help the economic development portion of that. And they've committed to invest in economic development at the hospital campus. And that last one I just mentioned is an investment of about $1 million. So everything from contracting, planning, marketing the property, attracting retail or commercial businesses, revitalizing and beautification projects. So about $1 million there they've committed to. So everyone kind of gets an idea. A lot of this credit goes to David Gonzalez, number 1, for bringing it to our attention. As soon as he found out that St. James was closing their doors, he was on the phone to mayors in surrounding communities and able to get a committee, especially with mayors, all have work jobs and and are all over the place. We were able to get times where we could meet. We met multiple times with Ernie Kimball and the Franciscan team. Talk about our concerns. Talk about our concerns with our ambulances going further, making sure that we have ambulances available. So a lot of work went into this mutual agreement. David Gonzalez was at the head. He was the one that mostly everyone saw. He was the one out there getting the people rallied and making sure that people were at the meetings. I don't think anyone was able to attend any of the public hearings, but there was multiple public hearings. There's around everything from Matson to Chicago Heights, Stager. But once we started getting into this memorandum of understanding, we were trying to have, at first, public hearings in every single community. Once we started getting into this memorandum of understanding, we started getting into more depth conversations with St. Francis. We kind of held back on the amount of meetings. That's why there was only 3. So we've got, of course, myself. We've got Ken Peterson from Stager, Michael Einhard from Crete, Ronald Gardner from Glenwood, David Owens from South Chicago Heights, and I don't know if Mayor Griffin signed this yet or not, but he was also a little bit, he wasn't as much involved as all of us mayors were, but we made sure that he received all the information as we went through these discussions. So can I give you an idea of what we've been working on and try to make sure that the residents of Sauk Village have, in case there's an emergency, we'll make sure that you have accessible access and make sure that we have what we need for our residents. So with St. James being taken down within a couple of years, it's not going to happen overnight. But as we already know, St. James has already started moving their services. So they're providing less services at the St. James location, and they're providing those services at Olympia Fields. So over the next couple of years, you're going to see less and less services, and then you're going to start to see them start to tear that building down, and you're going to have a big vacant lot. So that's where we're at on that. All right, with that said, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Oh, hang on. Justin.
When you said the last part, I think you said
Glenwood, Fort Hampton, South Village. We're going to, no, divided 2 and 3. So Chicago Heights got 300, and then the other 2, Region 1, that'd be 200,000 per community. Region area number 2, 200,000. But as mayors, we have to sit down and we're going to have to go through on how we're going to spend it. We're looking at probably putting a committee together because there's not going to just, the committee's not going to just get 200,000. The committee's going to have to review again. There's strict guidelines on how that money has to be spent. So we're going to make sure that we spend that money accordingly and that it's being done the way that the memorandum is. They're getting 300,000. $1 million goes toward the commitment to economic growth. They're going to use that $1 million for marketing the property, for beautification, that kind of stuff. All right, and that's coming from St. James, Francisco. All right, with that said, I ask for a motion to adjourn. That motion got a second? Yeah, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Do you go home? Oh, you're gonna go home? Aaron said you don't have a good deal, or you just present it? Just said we're raising the rates on everyone else.
Fuel don't get cheaper.